Me and Mick Brown are on the road again, and you find us here at the summer pit in Yateley. Now, you might be wondering, what are we doing sitting out here in the dark, staring at a tiny pinprick of light? And the answer is, we're fishing for really big Crucian carp. And when I say big, I mean big, don't I, Mick?
Yeah, there's some really big fish in here. There's a fish being caught this season that's actually trying to be ratified for the record.
I'm here fishing now in the dark because I know that some of these big Crucian carp were being caught at night.
Yeah, yeah.
You're not going to, are you?
No, I mean, I've got a slightly different tactic. I mean, fishing through the night with a float, it's going to tire me out. I've baited a swim on the other side, and I'm going to be there at daybreak, and I really want to concentrate. I want to be 100%.
These Crucians have had a fair old hammering through the early part of the season.
Yeah.
Couple that with the high temperatures, the extremely bright sunshine, all of it adds up, I think, to almost impossible fishing.
Yeah.
Almost impossible, but
Well,
not...
yeah, we've made all the excuses now, so...
OK.
Anyway, I'm going to put a bit more bait in my swim. I'm going to get some sleep, and I'll see you in the morning, mate.
OK, mate. Well, I'll give it an hour and then...
All right, well, if you get one, give us a shout.
All right.
Good luck.
It's very effective fishing in the dark because lots of fish feed in low light. So, Crucian carp, well, the record currently stands at £4 9 ounces. It was caught by Martin Bowler at Yateley. And here I am in the Natural History Museum in London. I've got with me Nigel Hewlett. Nigel works for the Environment Agency, but he's also a member of the British Rod Caught Fish Committee. The Crucian carp, Nigel, I know that this is one that really causes you headaches, isn't it? Why?
Absolutely, Matt. There's no other species that we get in photographs of them and spend so long scrutinising. And the reason is that Crucian carp hybridise extremely easily, both with carp and with wild goldfish or feral goldfish. And the results are fish that look terribly similar to Crucian carp.
So how do you tell the differences?
It's all down to counts of scales on the lateral line, to the position of fins, to body shape, to colour, and a host of things we have to look at.
So are there certain waters where you will just almost accept the record as being caught from, if it's the right weight, obviously, and others where you'd be a lot more cautious?
No, we put every single claim through the same level of scrutiny. We have to be absolutely sure that when we say it's Crucian...
Does that mean submitting the body of the fish?
Absolutely not. As long as it's well photographed and the fins can be seen, the good quality photographs, we can do it from a photograph.
Well, when you're going to try and catch a record, there's only one place to go to, and that's where the record came from. All the forms suggested that Mick and I should head off to Yateley, so we did, and to the summer pit. Now, if you've never done it before, fishing in the dark can be quite an unnerving experience. You hear all sorts of sounds at night. You hear things like foxes and birds and many animals that you don't see during the daylight become active at night. And they do make strange shuffling and scuffling and barking sounds. But once you get used to that, it really is great fun, particularly in the summer. Some of my biggest fish have been caught while night fishing, and it doesn't unnerve me at all anymore. But what I'm trying to do is to avoid shining any light directly onto the water, so I've got a small head torch here, which I use for baiting up only. When I'm actually fishing, I found that the best thing to do is to allow your sight and the rest of your senses to actually acclimatise to the darkness gradually. And then once you become familiar with it, you'll be amazed how much you can actually see without the light of a torch. Use the torch for the baiting up, but certainly keep it off the water. Now, I'm using a night float here. It's a little isotope I've attached to the tip of the float, and it's like a little beacon sitting out there, a pinprick of light. If I get a bite off a Crucian carp, it will literally just disappear under the surface and go out. And that will be absolutely magic if it happens.
Well, I didn't get a bad night's sleep on the bed chair, but 5 o'clock came round and that urge to cast in just got me. Luckily, I'd made the rod up the night before, got my shot in just right, and instantly I was getting bites. Not the Crucians we were after, but rudd. And I just took one after another. And this has gone on now till 7 o'clock, the sun's up, still haven't had a Crucian, but going to keep trying. Well, Crucians will take quite a wide variety of baits. They like worms, maggots, sweet cornbread. you name it, they'll eat it, but they soon wise up to baits. So I've been asking around, and one bait they haven't seen a lot of is luncheon meat, so I'm going to concentrate on that today. I know they like it on other waters. What I've tried to do is concentrate my bait in a small area, and I've picked a point just off that first little bush that's sticking out to my right, and I've already put a handful or two of bait in there, and I've got the Crucians fizzing away, so I'm just very, very carefully now place my float onto them. Absolutely spot on. I've got the float right in the middle of the bubbles, and the bait's just sinking slowly now in amongst the fish. You'll hardly see the float tip. I've got it set so delicately because these Crucians are really, really finicky biters.
Well, I don't know about you, but I think that this looks like a classic Crucian swim. You've got all these lovely weeds behind me, and on a boiling hot day like this, when it's so hot, it's so intensely bright, these fish are going to want cover and shade, and we've got it in spades here. I think the best way to fish this swim is with a pole. Now, normally a pole is used for match fishing, it's used for commercial type waters, but there is no finer way to present a bait delicately, and I'm told that the Crucian carp here are very, very delicate feeders. That's one of the hallmarks of the species, isn't it? So I think the pole would be a good approach, and I'm going to start off fishing the pole, concentrate hard, and we'll see what happens.
I've got fish bobbling down there.
This is fluorocarbon line. It's got a refractive index similar to that of water, so theoretically it should be invisible. I'm going to use a fairly small hook. So this is the plummet I'm going to be using. I've set this float at about 5 feet deep.
Oh, yes. Well, I don't usually object to catching a few fish, but these rudd are becoming a blooming nuisance. Go on, you. I hope a pike eats you.
I've got a feeling it's about 6 feet deep here where I'm going to fish. The great thing about the pole is you can plumb the depth really precisely. Let's just lower it in and see what we've got in front of us. I'm about 2 feet over depth.
Well, it's been very, very frustrating. There's so much scum coming across the surface. The only thing I've been able to do is fish my bait right under the rod tip, have the rod high in the air and have the line coming straight down to it, very much like pole fishing. I'm getting a much better presentation now, so let's see what happens with that. The bites are going to be so delicate from these Crucians.
Well, I've got a real problem now because I've just hooked a Crucian and it's dived straight into the tree. It's my own fault. I didn't get the rod down fast enough to stop the fish getting in there. I'm going to have to just pull slowly and hope that the fish is still on.
These fish have been fished for so much, they know all the little tricks.
I'll just take the elastic on the pole now. That's really, really solid. Remain calm and try not to throw the pole into the water.
Well, I'm into a Crucian, there's no doubt about that. It's not one of them little rudd this time, but it's taking me into this weed right under my feet. I'm going to have a bit of... Oh, I thought I'd lost it for a minute. I've got down to quite a light hook link, so I've got to be really careful with this one. I just don't want that little hook to pull out. Here he comes. I'm going to get him while I can. After all that frustration, I finally got one. I really didn't think I was going to get one with all the problems I've got with these floating leaves and weed. Well, there it is. We've got a Crucian. Not a huge one, but it's probably a couple of pounds, and in my book, that's a good fish. When you think the record's well over £4, we've got a long way to go. Oh, strong little fish. Well, I'm off the mark. I'm just wondering how Matt's getting on over there.
Well, here we go. It's the middle of a baking hot day. Absolutely incredible heat. And I've just placed the float into a little patch of bubbles that I saw off the edge of that tree, and it just gave the slightest dip. And I lifted and I've got a fish on, and I'm pretty sure it's a Crucian carp. I'm trying to keep above the fish now. It's made a dash to the tree. Oh, it's going again. I'm trying to let the elastic in the pole do the work. Oh yeah, that's a nice Crucian. Yes, I've got you. Woohoo! Fabulous. What about that? Well, it's not a record breaker, but it's not a bad one. That's a good Crucian Carp by anybody's standards, and tiniest little bite, classic Crucian Carp stuff. And there you go. Now the Crucian Carp, as you can see, is just like a little dinner plate. Fantastic looking thing. It's got no barbules like an ordinary carp. Altogether a very distinctive fish. Well, we know that the official record at the moment stands at 4 pounds 8 ounces. This fish is nowhere near that big. There is a fish currently up for ratification at 4 pounds 9 from this lake, actually. But I'm going to weigh this one anyway, just to get a feel for the size. It's certainly well over 2 pounds, probably, I would think, a good 2.5, maybe even 2 3/4. So it's worth weighing. It's a specimen Crucian, all right. Just pop him in the sling. There we go. 2 pounds 3 ounces I make that. About half the record, but that's a specimen Crucian, definitely. It's a good fish. Well, today has got a sense of ridiculous about it. This is forecast to be the hottest day on record ever. And here we are fishing for Crucian Carp. But what I'm going to do is fish in bursts. Fish for maybe 15, 20 minutes, take a break, just to keep my concentration going, because I've shotted the float right down for the bite sensitivity, and I need to keep my wits about me, I think. The great thing about the pole is that when I am fishing, I'm fishing really accurately. I can lower the bait right next to the tree if I want to. It's a very, very accurate way of fishing. It's a little bit cumbersome fishing a pole if you've never done it before, because it's a lot longer than a rod and heavier, but the presentation you get... Oh, there's a fish now. Got one on. Oh, the elastic stretching there. Now, the thing with the pole is you've got no reel to give line, so you have to allow the elastic that runs through the centre of the pole to do its work. The most important thing is not to do anything too quickly. Just take your time and allow the fish to plough around with the elastic just taking all of the sting out of the fight. And now I've got it on a short line and I can reach for the landing net. Oh, that's a lovely looking Crucian Carp, that one. Look how deep-bodied the fish is. It's almost like a big old-fashioned golden plate. And this one's a real old warrior. I don't know whether you can see, but it looks as if he's blind in one eye. That is a superb Crucian Carp, classic specimen. And this one I think is bigger than the first fish I caught. I'm going to weigh this one too, but this one's getting up towards 3 pounds, I think. And who said I couldn't fish a pole? So everything's ready. There we go. 2 pounds 12 ounces. That's a really nice Crucian Carp. I've come to a bit of a tactical decision. This finicky feeding behaviour is classic Crucian Carp stuff, and that's what Mick's experiencing. He's getting loads of fizzing in the swim, but he can't either get bites or hit the bites. Now, I'm not getting so much activity in my swim, but because of what I believe to be the superior presentation of the pole, I'm actually connecting with the bites when I get them. So I think what I'll do is slip this fish back and then take my pole and my bait round to Mick's swim, and we're going to try fishing the pole in there just to see whether it makes any difference. It may not, but it's worth a go. Fizz of bubbles around my float.
I know. We've got to keep going though, man, because every bite you get, it could be the record breaker.
Well, I lost a fish earlier on. I was absolutely gutted. You just don't know, do you? Well, there are a few differences between my approach and Mick's approach. I mean, first of all, mine's miles better, but specifically, I'm using a ground bait, whereas Mick's using liquidised bread. Now, this ground bait I'm using is very soft, and it's made up of 2 different ground bait mixes. I've got a fish meal here and something called Ringer's mix, which is basically used on commercial carp fisheries. Both have got a nice fishy smell, and what you end up with is a ground bait you can make up fairly damp, and it forms a very fine textured crumb which has got a very distinctive fishy smell, and when it breaks down in the water it forms a very fine carpet. It's brilliant at attracting Crucian Carp into the swim. If there is a drawback, the problem is that the fish sometimes become preoccupied on feeding on these tiny little food particles here, and they won't take your hook bait. So there's always a dilemma. Do I put it in and pull the fish into the swim, or do I leave it out? Personally, I've been using it because I've found that the fish are reluctant to leave the cover unless I put some of this stuff out there. It is a very, very good mix, but Mick, you're using a more traditional ground bait, aren't you?
Yeah, I'm using the liquidised bread, and basically it's what it says. It's breadcrumb that's been liquidised. All you do is take the crust off a loaf of bread, break up all the crumb, put it in the liquidizer, and just work it until it comes out into this sort of fine, flaky texture. And it's a very versatile bait. You can do so many things with it. You can squeeze it into very soft balls, or you can squeeze it into a really tight ball like this, throw it out, it'll sink to the bottom, and as it hits the bottom, it'll explode. And just cover the bottom with a nice carpet of bread, and if you're fishing flake or the bread punch on top of it, it's really effective. It hasn't worked this time. All the bread's produced is rudd. We haven't got the crucians we were after, but it was worth trying. Well, this evening's session is over, and we've had a nice flurry of fish towards the end. Some nice 2-pounders again, not the 3-pounder that we're looking for, and certainly not the record fish we're looking for. But it's been great sport and quite challenging, really. After dark, I'm going to try bolt rigging, using carp tactics, proper carp tactics, but with a lighter setup. You never know, that might work. We've still got time to do it. Well, the chances of catching a record Crucian carp are fast fading away, but I'm going to give it everything now. I'm going to fish through the night with that bolt rig. And even though I'm not fishing, I'm going to be asleep, the rod will be fishing. But as soon as that alarm goes off, believe me, I'll be down there playing the fish. Oh well, good night all.
But I've decided to have another go with the night float that I tried last night, because there's been quite a lot of activity in the swim at dusk. What I've done differently this time though is I've dotted the float right down, so I'm looking at a tiny, tiny pinprick of light on the surface, and I'm hoping that that extra sensitivity will bring me a fish or two. Well, I've got a fish on in the dark at last, and I thought I might get one in the end. It just slid away, and I'm playing a Crucian Carp. Oh, he's going for that tree. I don't want him in there. It's really strange seeing the isotope whipping around in the water at night. I'll try and get it in fairly quick, because there's all sorts of snags here. Come on, baby. Gotcha. Because I knew my crazy method would work. And there's the proof. A Crucian. Beautiful Crucian, actually, caught well after dark. Lovely looking fish, isn't it? I think what I'm going to do now is I'm going to unhook the carp, put him back, and I'm going to get a few hours sleep and have a real good go at this in the morning, because it'll be a last chance to do some Crucian fishing, and I'm optimistic maybe we'll get one or two more, but that's a great result, isn't it? There he goes. Great, time for bed, I think. While I'm here, it might be worth talking a little bit about Crucian baits and presentation. Most of the fish in this pit, traditionally over the years, have been caught on sweet corn and bread hook baits. So I tried to come up with a few alternatives, and the main bait I've been using, as you can probably see here, is tiny cubes of luncheon meat. And what I've been doing is plumbing the depth and having the bait so it literally just touches the bottom. I've got a group of shots about 12 inches up from the hook bait, and they're there basically to get the bait down quickly in the water. I use small shots so I get less tangles on the pole. What about other baits? Well, in addition to the ground bait, I'm feeding these small pellets. These are mini betaine pellets, and they're absolutely perfect for Crucians. You put those in the water, they're full of protein and fish really love eating them. And as they're in the water for a period of time, they soften and start to swell up. So that's my main feed bait. And then I've got a couple of scatter baits here. I scattered just a few of these over the top and use one of these baits on the hook. I did start off using corn, but I've mainly gravitated now to using this luncheon meat, which I've cut into tiny cubes. Perfect for a size 14 or size 16 hook, and perfect for the Crucian Carp, which tend to like a small bait.
Oh, this one isn't a rod. This one's not a rod. In fact, it's a Crucian. Oh, and it's off. Oh, I can't bring this one up. I've only got a light hook link on. Let's see if I can turn it from the tree. Oh, this one's staying deep, not like the others, which were... Oh, there it is, there it is. It is a good fish, actually. This could be the one I'm after. Oh, it's in. And it's not a bad one. God, well, if that's not £3, it's not far off. Oh, God. Oh, just take a look at that. Well, this is a proper Crucian Carp. This is certainly the biggest one I've ever caught, the biggest one I've ever seen, in fact. Just how deep it is and look how thick across the back it is. Oh, this is a fabulous fish. I am so pleased with it, as you can probably tell.
Well, this is it, Mick. The moment of truth. You don't want to look, do you?
Well, I do and I don't.
OK. Well, it actually weighs £3, 1.5 ounces.
Yes. Oh, thanks.
Well done, son.
Good team effort.
Fantastic.
Thanks.
Well, you've done it, Brownie.
Yeah, well,
obviously, we need to get this fish back.
Yeah.
And while you do that, I will hand you the fish in the sack.
Yeah, thanks, man.
Fantastic effort. We've come here to Yateley, which is the home of the British Crucian record, and we've done it. We've shown you Crucian fishing in all its forms. We've had all of that awkward feeding, not being able to get a bite, amending our tactics, catching a few fish, fishing at night. You've seen Crucian fishing perfectly, I think, perfectly illustrated, and it's been an absolute blast, capped off by a superb effort by Mick Brown.
Yeah.
Well done, mate.
Thanks, mate.
Well done.
I'm just lost for words.
But for us, there's no time to get complacent because we're in a bit of a specimen fish hunt. So now it's back on the road and on to the next venue. So I guess we'll see you next time.